little bit of Venusian tone. This is my Venus bowl. Seeing as Venus is conjunct to the moon right now. And Mercury, which literally Mercury rules the internet and technology issues, stuff like what we're having from the previous. So welcome everybody to take 2 of Cosmic Convos. We are welcoming back my very sweet Soul Sistar TammyLynn out of Canada, guru, hypnotherapist, cosmic galactic, amazing lady. I don't think that they know. I guess we could tell them, that you and I do this quite frequently. We started we've always had our voice conversations back and forth going. And sometimes, there'd be lulls where, be a couple months since we heard each other in the past. And then we just pick up right where we left off every single time. And so we know that we've done this in many incarnations. But I'm so glad that we got the sound figured out and we're back. We're back.
Hey. And in some parallel reality, we never left.
Wow, that's so true. Okay, that's so true. I want to talk about my session that I had with you. I'm just going to give them a little snippet.
And I wanted to bounce back for a minute and then bounce back in. Can we do that in 1 sec?
Yeah,
or am I going to break your flow?
No, go right ahead. Go right ahead.
I just want to acknowledge that we're playing in Cosmic Convos. So intention is everything. That's even true in your own personal life. Recognize the intentions that you're setting.
Yeah.
And that's, moving it into the energies. And we just jumped from one frequency to that child frequency. And that's what I was just going to come in and say when we went out. And I want to acknowledge the Grandmother Council, which is having tremendous fun seeing the children at play and being a part of that frequency and that alignment. And then the descendants, the energies that we're passing, we're creating, we're influencing, we're moving energy. So it's that I perceive right now, we've experienced some ancient wisdom, some insights that we're awakening to within ourselves, who we're becoming.
Yeah.
And what we have more divine natural access to, and that child of new beginning, that child of wonder and creation. Because you were speaking, Chanda, you were speaking about some of that child innocence, that energy that you came in with, that you played with when you were a child, that you knew was real and true, whether anyone else recognized it or not, and how many people are tuning in and they resonate with this conversation. We're not it's not seeking to walk in the magic. I want to go walk in the magic. It's like I'm walking the magic in, and we're all doing that. So this is a time of that childlike energy and birthing that through us and knowing, imagination is everything. It's creation at its core.
Oh, yes.
So utilizing your imagination and really getting in the frequency of play, and merging those two worlds into neutrality, that everything is actually has tremendous purpose. Because when we were growing up, with so much of our natural innate knowing within ourselves came into programming and conditioning, we now have the wherewithal to witness some of the programming and conditioning that's keeping us in that sleepy state of that's happening. But we can be over here playing, and we have a different frequency and a different vibration. So we're always choosing. We're always choosing. And how we want to show up and play. So I just feel like I have to get that out, because I want to hear about but that was part of the expansion I was in back in the woods. And it was very real, and it was very tangible, and it was, again, making seen the unseen. And that is a commitment I made. That is my sacred prayer with my ancestors and my descendants. to make seeing the unseen, and I'm the witnesser and the experiencer. And we can influence other people's frequencies as much as we're influenced by each other.
Mm-hmm.
So,
and you're speaking of the woods. For those that maybe didn't catch you're up by Niagara Falls, and you go near the river there in the woods. You've sent me many videos, and it's just magical, and it's so fun. She'll send me these videos, and she's like showing me the sun and showing me everything, and then the next thing you know, it's funny because she sent multiple videos. I think it was like 2 or 3 that day. And the first one I was like, oh, I can kind of see the ducks over there. And then the next one was like, and in my mind, I was like, oh, I wish those ducks would come by. And then the next one is like, oh, and here comes the ducks. And the next thing goes, and I think they were like either geese, Canadian geese or ducks or something.
Yeah.
But that was like, the energy was so fun.
We're influencing it by what, we're the projectors.
Yeah.
And that's the interactive energy that I've been moving in and co-creating with, and I'm just leaving that there to have everyone look at their own lives and what's around them, and the oneness. I mean, we're moving into that level of where our consciousness can really shift into the true oneness of one with all life. And here in a collaborative co-creation, and it's interactive. I cannot, I won't go there. I was just going to say,
no, go.
Yeah. No, I was just thinking about the television. I was just thinking about the television, and I can make a frequency on TV. I can interact with that by giving it all the energy of that being truth.
Yeah.
So again, choosing the frequency of truth. I think that we're all at our own level, at our own spiral of our own evolution, experiencing a multitude of new things in this shift.
Yeah.
I'd like to
speak to the child at play, though, the creation at play. That's what I labeled the first video was, Cosmic Convos Premier Creation at Play. Because, so when I was a kid, so you see right here, right there, see that there's a planet there. My dear sister and moderator out of Washington sent this to me, and normally it lights up, but for some reason, I'm not even kidding. Even the light that like moves in the background is like, everything is just, technology is just up in, I'm frying stuff out. Like literally the light here, I plugged it in, and the light is plugged in to the thing. It's like, it's supposed to be like movable and stuff, but I plugged it in so it doesn't go out. It's still not working. So weird. I even had this like dancing flame thing that I ordered right sitting over here, and I can't get it to come on. It's just this frequency at play, and you got to just kind of go with it. Like when I was a kid, I remember being able to look at things and they could turn on by themselves. Just like with my own little precious will. I had a little disco ball. Boom. Look at it. And I would turn it on without touching it. And, it's like pulling in that playful spirit. Pisces is a very almost naive, and it's a naive innocence kind of thing, because it's when we fall back into that nothing but spirit, fun. Often I say, you got to give Pisces a pass because they'll flake out on you. That's just what they do. They don't mean to. It's just they can't deal sometimes with 3D reality. They really have a hard time with it. So they got to like back off. And I have like a best friend who's like that. And I'm just like, I am probably going to hear from her. Like literally, she had a session set up for this week. And something told me at the beginning of the week, I'm like, it's her birthday session. I don't think that's going to be happening. So I was like texting her, hey, is this going to happen? I'm kind of thinking about going to Mexico. And I was like, I kind of figured something was happening. But that's okay, and that's the other thing, is honoring everybody else where they're at, and really not just saying it. actually doing it. And that's tough sometimes when it's like your kid or it's your parent or it's someone that you're super close with. So like when you're in that, you're kind of in that parallel with a family member, and I'm in the parallel with family member, and it's like you're sitting there watching these folks, and like you can see from your perception, if they could just turn this direction and maybe tweak it a little bit, things would change for them. And you want that for them, but then you're like, well, I can't really do that for them. They have to be able to do that for them, right? That's been a lot for me to learn, just with all these situations that I deal with my children. It's been a lot, and I know other people have been dealing with situations with their children, family members, best friends, and it's just like when you're someone who sees things, feels things, and is perceived as like, oh, that's that crazy astrologer psychic woman, it's very real. It's very real. And they're like, I don't know about you, you know what I'm saying? But it's, to me, it's like, I really wish, and I know wishing is retarded, and no judgment, but it's just, I really wish that people would be like, hey, maybe she actually does see and feel these things. Maybe she does smell coffee burning, like burnt coffee in the morning when her grandma's around, stuff like that. Maybe that cigarette smell really does come in strong for her when her sweet husband Jesse comes around, stuff like that. I wish people would just kind of like start to acknowledge, but I've had that just slightly improve, and so that's positive. It's positive. It has slightly improved, but for years I just felt like I was very alone in all of this, like many of us that are here watching this, and I don't know why I went off on that tangent, but there it is.
It wasn't a tangent. It was all very valid. You're bringing a lot through and acknowledging a lot within yourself. My heart is, whew, yeah, that just got some resounding drum beats. And you started out with the energies in the room and how lighting was going out and different things were happening. Again, spirit is always speaking to us in the language in which we recognize it, we understand it. Mm-hmm. So someone else might be going, oh, technology is going out only because technology is going out. Whereas your acknowledgement based on your own experiences, when that starts to happen, I'm getting cued. It's time to ground, and energies, frequencies are rising. And then you talked about how you, when you were a child, and you could move through your point of focus and knowing, because we're true believers. The child within is the true believer. That's what we're coming back to, merging that with. So it's the knowing that, oh, I can move energy. Well, you're doing it now. It's acknowledging, oh, this is my natural ability. This is the power within me. So when we're looking at, and then when we move to what we perceive outside of ourselves when it comes to other people,
and playing in that paradigm, with them, and observing
coming
them
out, and we're continually being asked to come out of the duality
and see them in the highest light.
Yes. Because we light. And there's sacred law, right? And we're now operating in the frequency of the sacred law. So it's having that humility, and that respect, and that honoring that we're all being guided in our own unique ways.
Yeah.
And having our own unique experiences. And when we come back to ourselves, when you were saying, like, there's something that I just want to acknowledge that maybe would be, however someone connects with spirit, or they're in their own unique way, really maybe get a journal and start jotting down what your spoken prayers are, what your intentions are. And open yourselves to like seeing that come in, because you planted some seeds that are actually showing you today, you know, how powerful your own language is and your own intention, and how this creation now is a part of that. It's just happening for us. So that child of wonder, that child of awe, knowing, go back to, you know, go back to when, because we started this conversation knowing that it was probably relatable to a lot of people. How did I interact with spirit then? How did I interact with my with that was received outside of me, and see how it's showing up for you now? You know,
I remember it was just so instinctual. You know, you and I are both Aries moons. You know, we both have that Aries moon. By the way, she's a Sagittarius sun sign, and your rising's Gemini, right?
No, my rising is my North Node.
No, your North Node is Gemini. That's where I was thinking.
And
Gemini.
my rising is Cancer.
That's right. That's why we get that nurturing, loving mother from her. But being Aries moon, it's instinctual. Intuition is instinctual to an Aries moon. It is nothing you really think about. And in emotions, sometimes you just, you know, things can just come out, and you're by, you know, your sun and rising's going, what the hell just happened here? What happened? You know, because that Aries moon is a serious placement, because it's like the most innocence of fire. It's the youth of fire. This is also why often Aries moons are not going to be about dating some old man or old woman person, you know, because you're very youthful in your heart. Like, you want somebody that's kind of youthful in their heart, that's playful, and that will be, you know, not so serious. And I feel like I've always been that one to just go and do, and just go and do. And I really didn't think about consequences a lot when I was younger. I got in a lot of trouble. The nuns, they kicked me out of kindergarten. I couldn't go back to Catholic school because I didn't care. I was just having fun. Okay, so I took their ruler and put it in the fire outside. I was tired of them spanking me with it, quite honestly. But we'd had like a bonfire at the barn. It was on this big land outside of Carlsbad, New Mexico. And, it was so funny because I was like, always, I caught my coach's, 7th grade coach's pants on fire because he'd put me at the front of the class again. I wasn't doing anything wrong. I was just back there talking. I was talking about the actual topic to the person next to me. And he thought I was talking about other stuff. I was like, no, I'm actually talking about Texas, whatever it was, history. And this guy, I couldn't stand him, puts me at the front of the class. I had a lighter, okay? I had a lighter in my pocket because I smoked cigarettes. I was a kind of a bad kid. And I had this lighter, and I'm like, and he wore those polyester pants. Remember those polyester pants? I start going like this. Shh. He's got his ass right in my face. My other friend, Tracy, she'd already gotten in trouble. She's down at the other end of this big, long table. His ass, and he's teaching and talking, talking. I'm like, shh. And she goes, my friend Tracy Scott, God love you, Tracy Scott. She passed away. I love you. She's coming through. Oh, my gosh. She said, I'll give you $5. $5 if you do it. I'm like, you bet I'll do it. I had done it for so long because his ass was right there for so long. I had poof, all of the butane from this just went up. I got such licks in the office that day. But, you know, I just did. And I was really in this space of, I would tell them in the class, you're wrong. I would literally tell them this. I would tell them, you're wrong. Like, by 8th grade, I wore 3 pairs of little spandex shorts up underneath my like mini skirts or pants or whatever, just in case.
I love it. I love it. And that's the uniqueness. That is the uniqueness of all of us, because I perceive where we're moving this conversation towards. I know. That's brilliant. And I was not that child. I was the one that wanted shrunk down and made herself so small that there is no risk element to being seen or hurt in that manner, because I was hurting already, internalizing. I think where we're going with this is also, that's the medicine, that is that wounded healer, and that is
Chiron, the wounded healer.
Right, the Chiron, the wounded healer, and then Vesta, right? That is that. Yeah. You were gonna talk about that with the North Node and the South Node, and that's sort of where we're going. As if we look at that wound, you knew. So where I became what you were doing as a child, as a result of what I saw and was exposed to, I became the advocate. As a children's mental health therapist, I became the advocate. I became the righteous one, calling out injustices, holding institutions and people working within those institutions accountable. I mean, I've had to break, dissolve, and
that's your Sagittarius fire with your Aries moon. I must interject.
Exactly. So you see how we're star mapped and we're earth pathed. We're star mapped and earth path, and we're growing through our own cycles. But that's our fire. That's our magic. That's what we can create with. Yeah. Being true to ourselves and authentic in who we are, we get to reclaim.
Yeah, we do.
At every moment. In every moment. I don't want to be playing in that. Yeah, you don't want to be playing in that old energy, and neither do I.
I don't want that energy I don't want the energy for 5 minutes ago when we got kicked off. You know what I'm saying? We're done with that. It's over. Every single moment, it's a new timeline directive. Every single moment, it's a choice. But the thing is to figure out, and this is the brilliant thing I wanted to bring forward at the beginning of the show about TammyLynn with her hypnotherapy, is that she took me into this session where, if you didn't know, I'll give you a little just synopsis. I had multiple fathers growing up. I had a grandfather who was like Tesla, literally. He was an electric genius, inventor, always taught me all kinds of stuff. He's a galactic head of council somewhere, Anyway, I had this father, and it was his son, who was banned from the family, but then I reunited with him out of a fluke. It ended up got to spend a couple days with him at Christmas. And then from there, I was going to move to the Virgin Islands. And it's always hurt my heart because he died right before I graduated high school when I was going to move. And I always regretted not being able to go and spend that time that I wanted to spend with my father that I never knew all these years, And she took me into this wonderful state. And I mean, I'm very easily, I can go into any state really easily. And she took me in and she showed me that I actually did go, that timeline did play out. I actually was there with my father. There was a senorita there with a margarita. And, you got to realize my father was a Jimmy Buffett song. Seriously, I've got the pictures and postcards to prove it. Lived on a sailboat, drowned in the Virgin Islands, going from St. Croix to St. Martinique. And it made me, so many things opened up for me. There was just like this lift of, oh my God, it actually did happen. That timeline did play out, and it is still playing out because we are all multidimensional happenings. And and even though you may be conscious right now, there's another one of you that's playing out that timeline with that person that you thought died, and they have a timeline that's playing out where they didn't die.
And that is great. What we're here for. That's that. Yeah. First of all, I just want to acknowledge and give gratitude and thanks. That's that whole bone energy. That's that just letting the divine work through you, because that could otherwise never have been orchestrated. And it was also having to go back to what are some of those beliefs? What are some of the things that you're holding on to create, that you thought was true of yourself? But I just want to say with the oh my gosh, where am I going? I want to bring this
Well, the hollow
back to
bone.
something.
Come back to the hollow bone is what they're telling me in here. They want you to speak
The
more of the
hollow
hollow.
bone, the
Yeah.
acknowledging, that's just, yeah, and that's being in that place of neutrality. And that's because we are moving through. We are moving through. We're not even, we've changed. We've rebirthed ourselves from the moment we broke to coming back here. And again, we'll rebirth ourselves. So we're going through a multitude, a billion. I want to say gabillion because I'm a child. But a billion,
A gabillion. I like it.
Of gabillion. Split seconds of changing frequencies and shifting and through choice and matter. And there's parallel realities playing out simultaneously. And every choice we have is giving us an opportunity to anchor in a new point. So now you have access because you had that shamanic experience where it's direct revelation, that aha moment, you felt it, it was sensorial, it was real, as all the senses were activated and connected to that energy. Now you get to pull the energy into the now. And that's what we're doing. Oh, my elder freaked me out. That's what we're doing right now. We're really in the realm of the future self, birthing here right now, because we're speaking it through. We're speaking through the creation of our own evolution. And then we're in that moment. The invitation is be that future self now.
Yes.
And that's exactly, it changed your frequency out of an old held belief that was hidden in the shadows, and we're so afraid of letting that go. I mean, we think that's our natural state to hold on to that, and that's that judgment, that we hold in ourselves. But that's all natural. We're again observing, boom, and then there it is right there. And now you're the margarita with the senorita who feels like, I won't get into all the particulars, but you've come
what it did too is it changed my essence of being from there. It changed how I have this picture of my father, and he's sitting there with his shirt off, and he's got a big old thick anchor necklace on, silver anchor, and he's like, and he's got the biggest blue eyes. If you saw him, I look just like him. He's got the biggest blue eyes. Yeah, you did. I know you did. But he's sitting there, and he's kind of got his arm like this, and it's a framed picture, and it's in like this whole sea theme picture. I've had this picture since I was 16, I've had it in the same frame with the same sea theme thing going around with all of this stuff. And I've always looked at that picture very sad. And when I looked at this picture this time, I was so happy. It just changed the essence of how. And then I also noticed, because I have a couple of clients that have similar, we always attract those that have similar types of issues as clients, right? I often attract people who've experienced a lot of death because that's part of my mission here. And it made me be able to share that, even like I knew I had the knowingness in me of all of this, but you opened it up, and it made me where I could really share with them, hey, that this really is playing out in another timeline right now. I'm like, really know this, really know this, and let's go there. They told me about 2 weeks ago, and I say I channel a collective called the 12 if you're new, but they told me we're going back to the basics. Take it back to inception. This has to go all the way back to the beginning because you're missing something. And then the next thing that they said was, you need to understand that even though you may not in this physical reality be playing out this timeline, just like TammyLynn showed you with the Margarita Senorita and your dad on the Virgin Islands, they too are also experiencing the same situation. So let's open their eyes, because before I would sit with them on the couch years ago. It was just us sitting on the couch doing stuff. And so I started doing that with my clients. Ever since that session, we've kind of gone back to the basics. And now I'm able to we're not only doing sound therapy and astrology and all that, but we're able to sit, and I'm like, if it's someone who's really in the thick of it, like they're really, really in the thick of it, like they're going through it, right? I'm able to like help them project their consciousness to the timeline that they wish they had. And then let's embody that now essence of being, and then we'll, and activate it in and bring it through. And it's really been working great. So I want to honor you with greatest gratitude from my heart for the beautiful session that you gave me. Well, that we're traded, I love it. Thank you.
And honoring you for your being in that space of readiness. So if people need, look at neurolinguistics programming, that's precisely what you described. You can actually, you're shifting states. We're in and out. We talked a little bit about what hypnosis is, but we're in and out of different states of consciousness all day long, all the time. There's a part, I'm very aware, there's a part of my consciousness that's in this aspect of self that goes, what the heck is she talking about, and how ludicrous does this sound? Yeah. Now, I have a choice when we end this transmission, whether I'm going to pick up that energy, which is an old energy in the thought form, or that's not true of who I am. I am who I am now. I want to honor that, just as you've taken claim to that, and you're helping others take claim to that. That if a belief is just a thought, and I used to say this when I was working with young people all the time, again, going into belief and make believe, if a belief is just a thought that you think, and if you keep thinking the same thought, it becomes your belief, then change the thought and you change the belief. What do you believe about yourself now? We're in and out. We are natural hypnotists. We're natural at moving states of consciousness. So we call about multidimensionality, but it becomes stepping into more of who you are and owning that now and taking the energy out of the old. Because look at you, you're shining, you're radiant, you're totally in that expression. And I've noticed and I've witnessed, and then we bear witness, I've seen how that shift has been playing out with you moving forward with your astrology and making some changes there, how you show up, the frequency that holds, what you're bringing through with greater clarity and confidence, and what you're letting go of because that personality is falling away, even jumping in and diving in and doing this today.
Yeah.
Me showing up and saying yes, because the inside of me was screaming no, but that future, that bigger part of myself was screaming yes, do it now. Here's an opportunity. You've grown into this. So we're challenging ourselves in new ways, but let's all slow down and witness ourselves and observe, who am I now? And
who am I now? Write it in the comments. Who am I now?
Who have I become with all this experience, and let that kind of, that's that taking leaps of faith that we're in now. This energy is really flooding through for everyone's best and highest, and you can, once you enter that flow, that water state, the Piscean water state, and that energy is flowing through the winds, through your air element. That's also the winds. You can have a raging thought form that's moving that energy very quickly, like a tornado.
Oh, and I've been feeling all of the little tornadoes all around me. Like, I've been saying this for a week. Okay, so there's this kinetic energy that's going around us, and you can feel it. It's like little tornadoes going all around, and you can feel it. And it's like, whoa, like I'm going to fly away here in a minute, So, I mean, I'm having to ground a lot. For me personally, I don't know about you, but that's been some serious. This week, I promise you, this week has been more of an upgrade, more of an activation, more light codes, whatever damn label you want to put on it. This week has been the week that's like topped me off more so than any eclipse last year. This has been a big week. And that's the other thing is like, forget it. If you're trying to plan something or make something happen or whatever, especially with technology right now, I cannot wait for Mercury to move on back into Aries. And that's going to be happening literally, I believe it's want to make sure I'm right before I speak it. Yep, tomorrow, Saturday. Actually, 11:03 p.m. Eastern. So,
And
we
then,
have a lot.
And then we could even change our perception of that, and we could thank Mercury for playing the role that it played, and focus and ask, even connect with that energy. How did that play out in everyone's reality to the best and highest of everyone? You know, again, it's
massive downloads, massive energy, massive upgrades.
Exactly.
Like, seriously, I'm not kidding.
Knocking you out of the continuity of, I get to mindlessly just pick up my technology and look at that outside of me and get all caught up in that jam and social media and communicating with other people, rather than, this is my time that I can witness self, I can be with self, I can write that down, I can get curious, I can communicate with Mercury, or think about different perceptions. Is it swirling thought forms? Is it cyclones of energy it's picking up because you've been asking for it to clean, clear, and remove, and peace to be restored? Energy we're talking about the medicine bundle. We're talking about being gifted more of the consciousness of who we are. And that's that. A child doesn't say no to a gift. Let me play with this,
Yeah.
And that's the magic. If we're, it's like, are we going to wait for the magic to show up to walk in it? I'm going to go walk into the magic. But what our perception of magic not being there? What if we say, I'm the magical?
Yeah.
And I'm going to walk in the magic. How will I do this?
Mercury
I always
is
perceive
the
I'm here
magician.
from the future. Yes, the Merlin is here. So coming
exactly.
in,
Wizard. Let's go.
I'm wanting to say that my belief is I'm here from the future to see how I did it.
Yeah.
And then moving, and then it's malleable. It's not all fixed. I get to play with all the elements and be all the elements.
Well, it gets back to the free will of the cosmic idea. The big fucking deal. What's the big fucking deal here? Well, you're a big cosmic, multidimensional badass, right? But you're still not. You're a human, and you're in a flesh suit, and you have to figure all this out. And it's, this Earth School is not easy for many people, but it's so much fun. Even the tough stuff. I mean, I have learned more than anything through these traumas to cry with intention. Like, by God, if we're going to do this, we're going to do it. We're going to make sure that we're moving that energy on and up out and clear that, whereas before I would just lose my shit, and now, I wouldn't say just this past year, I'd probably say in the last 4 years, I've really mastered that. But there's so much going on, so much going on with everybody. I've got a client tomorrow coming in, dear sister of mine, and we're going to the ocean to scream first thing before we do anything else, because woo, has she been given a lot of challenges in these past few weeks.
And there, you know what? And I want to acknowledge, those energies. I want to say that that's the other thing around impeccability and accountability and integrity. I am sitting in my integrity right now as I speak about these frequencies and these shifts and what I've been experiencing, because I've just come out of a Saturn return. You also know that I had formerly had a network and been quite active online, and just shut everything down and have gone into that internal state and going through my own witnessing and growth, and will continue to do so and continue. I'm just planting the seeds of awareness of how we can be the co-creators of more of that. That my it's the dissolving of that outer personality that we go kicking and screaming. My gosh, I was a children's mental health therapist, 33 plus years. Like, the dissolving of the career and identity there. I had just removed the term clinical from my work, and it changed me. It transformed me like that. As soon as I just took the word out, that's what I was holding in resistance. This is how we reach people. Then it was my home, and how my home sold, and my mother passed, and 3 attempts to live outside of returning under my father's roof, a child who's been away since she was 16 now, an adult. So we're all going through it, but again, patterns of divine perfection when I look at it.
Yeah. Divine perfection. And she froze on patterns of divine perfection. Come back. Please come back, dear. I love you. Please come back. Oh, of course. Of course. You cannot. Okay. Oh, I'm getting chilled to the bone. My. TammyLynn, I love you dearly. I so love you dearly. Come on back. We're going to give her just a minute more. Maybe she'll pop back in. Ah, goodness. I think that's it, though, guys. I really do. We have 2 videos out for this Cosmic Convos. Hopefully the next Cosmic Convos will go on with just 1 video. But now you got 2. Hey, you got a lot of energy. But we were both like, we got to go back. We have too much to say. So, wow, what a freaking amazing energy. And I'm so glad that all of you have hung out with us today. Sending so much love, gratitude, and appreciation for the moderators, the groups, as well as TammyLynn out of Canada. Her information is out there if any of you want a hypno session with her. Mind-blowing. She says block out 3 hours. Normally 2.5 to 3 hours is how much it takes. So, and she's amazing. So I love you all. I love you, TammyLynn. If you're seeing this, walk in the light and spread the sparkle of divine perfection straight from TammyLynn's highest self.